Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today I've got a competition entry for Tavis, and he runs a channel called Vinyl Talk with Tavis. It's a fairly simple competition. He just wants you to show at least 5 albums that have got either animals or insects on the cover. Straight away I could think of 2 or 3 albums to show, so I thought I'd better enter the competition. And first up, it's Pussy Plays by Pussy. And this is a UK psych band. This was their only album, came out in 1969. It reminds me of those soundtracks you used to get on swinging London films in the 1960s. It was probably sounding a bit dated when it finally came out in 69, but it's pretty good, and I think the best thing about it is the cover, which is fantastic. Right, next up, it's the self-titled debut album by Matching Mole. As you can see on the cover, there's a few Canterbury scene luminaries involved. Robert Wyatt formed the band after he left Soft Machine, unhappy with the direction they were taking towards it, mainly instrumental music. Phil Miller, and who went on to form Hatfield and the North and also National Health, and David Sinclair, who had left Caravan at that point. And it's got a fantastic illustration on the cover by an artist called Alan Cracknell. He did a lot of illustrations for children's books. Tried to research about him. I'm not sure if he's still alive and still working, but he's got a lovely sort of retro, intricate, colourful style of drawing, which really appeals to me. And that's the details on the back. Next up, it's an album by Daniel Johnson and Friends, and it's Space Ducks, and this one has artwork by Daniel Johnson, which is a bit of fun. 7 of the tracks on the album are by Daniel Johnson, but you've also got tracks by some other artists that I enjoy. Fruit Bats, Unknown Mortal Orchestra, for example. And there's another illustration. And next up we have BJ Cole and The New Hovering Dog. I think I'll have to get that a bit closer to the camera so you can see that yeah, the dog appears to be hovering. BJ Cole is a well-known pedal steel guitarist, well-known here in the UK. He worked mainly as a session musician from the 70s onwards. He's still working today. I know in recent years he's worked with Matt Berry. But this was his debut solo album that came out in the early 70s after he'd left Cochise. And some of the details on the back, in case you want to explore further. Right, next up we have the Fastbacks and his orchestra, with some cartoon tigers and dogs and various other animals on the cover. The Fastbacks came from Seattle and formed in the mid-80s, led by a fantastic singer-songwriter Kurt Bloch, who's also worked with the Young Fresh Fellows. I always really liked his style of sort of indie pop, and he was a big influence on quite a few sort of indie pop bands in Scotland, especially in the 80s. And there's the details on the back as well. Right, and next up it is the debut album by Poco, Picking Up the Pieces, which comes in a lovely gatefold sleeve. And this is a real sort of landmark album, really, because it set the template for commercial country rock, which various bands, most notably the Eagles, picked up the baton and ran with in the 70s. It's a tour de force by Richie Furay, who had been in Buffalo Springfield, of course. And the dog on the cover apparently is a replacement for Randy Meisner, the bassist, who left before the debut album came out. And he, of course, went on to join the Eagles. And finally, an obvious choice, and it's slightly battered original copy of Atom Heart Mother, Pink Floyd. And I particularly like the choral work by John Aldis and his choir on the Mammoth title track. And this album was the first album by Pink Floyd to reach #1 in the charts, in the UK album charts. I would suggest that you go check out Tavis's channel if you don't already know about it. He has actually got more than 4,500 subscribers, so the chances are that you're already a subscriber to his channel. And he's got a lovely conversational, engaging tone and honesty to his presentation style, which is really appealing. And I'm happy to have subscribed now, and I'll be following him in the future. And I'll see you again in a few days. So everybody take care.